Previously on Podcast Without Pretense.
I like the show where we never got started.
You know, the thing is about socks is that I'm tired about talking about socks.
Oh, come on. Why the hell would I ever leave Albuquerque?
Hi, I'm Jonathan Strickland.
Yo soy Ayaz Akhtar.
And I'm Eric Sandine.
And Eric, why the hell are you leaving Albuquerque? All right, let's just get right to it.
Wait, you're leaving Albuquerque?
Yeah. Ayaz doesn't pay attention to things, apparently.
So Ayaz, we're playing some sort of musical hosts thing where you relocate from the West Coast to New York. Eric appears to be taking your place on the West Coast.
So where on the West Coast are you going? Because I used to live around San Francisco, Eric.
So where you used to work at the big company that I think you still work for them? Where you went back? Unclear. Your old office, I'm like 3 blocks from it.
You're going to be working by 235 2nd Street?
I am. I'm on Howard.
Okay, what? Why? When? Where? How? And what? And what are you doing?
Yeah, I've also wondered all these questions as well.
Yeah, so
are you leaving us?
I'm not. Where am I going? Huh?
Well, no, I mean, does your job permit you to be a podcaster of independent giant success as you have been here?
It doesn't.
At B?
No, it does not.
Well, no, thank God we're not successful.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm switching jobs. Happened pretty fast, really. So Vidpresso, we got lean and mean, and it was time for me to do something else. And I'm now working for a company called Cambly out here. I'm actually hired. This has been my first week. I haven't actually moved here yet. I'm in an Airbnb in Oakland currently. Yeah.
Okay, so Jonathan was saying I wasn't paying attention.
Over the course of about 2 weeks.
I knew Eric was interviewing somewhere, and I'm like, why is he interviewing people? I think that's a little weird.
Jonathan, he wasn't interviewing people. He was getting interviewed.
What were the hints that you saw, Jonathan? Was it on social media? Did you talk to Eric directly? Who are your sources?
Yeah, talking to Eric directly. That's a hint. What the hell? How do you play Clue? Hey, what cards do you have in your hand? Oh, I've got the wrench, and I've got oh, thanks for the hint. No, I was just doing something called paying attention to my friends.
Yeah. I'm self-involved. Sorry, buddy. So you're working at a new company, and you
Eric,
have been.
Did you know that Ayaz sometimes shows up on TV? See, I know that too because I look at the damn Facebook.
I'm aware that he's on television. I can't say that I've ever seen it though. That's about as far as it goes.
I've never watched it. I've just seen the little icon. I let my friends like Shannon Morse see it, and she can experience it or at least tweet about it and share it, and then I know it's happening.
That's true.
No matter television is as fun as hanging out with the WWE that Jonathan's gotten to do. Anyway,
did you ever watch that video?
I watched the first half. It's only 10 minutes long.
So so you watched the half where they put the ring together, but not the half where I got to talk to the actual wrestlers.
I didn't get to have a choice in that one, but anyway. So, Eric, what is it you're going to be doing again at this place called? You said Cambly?
Cambly. So,
Cambly.
Platform support specialists. They're a startup out here. They do English language native speaking tutoring. Yeah.
So you're relocating. You're going to be moving to NorCal. Are you taking anybody with you, or what?
Yeah, we're figuring that part out.
Because I've transferred a Liz.
That's the complicated part.
Yeah. So if for those of you who don't know,
I also have to move a Liz.
Right. I've taken a Liz from the West Coast over to the East Coast, and that's a really hard game to play. And I know Eric has a Liz as well. I don't know Liz's background. That Liz is my Liz, I know. But the more roots they have, it can be fun. Is your Liz into cities?
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's from Chicago. She's not from Albuquerque, so yeah.
Okay, so she knows streets and pavement.
Right.
Not like my
and
list was from Woodacre.
looking up and not really seeing the sky.
Right. That entirely, that you look up and you're like, it's kind of blue. It's dark blue. But there's this weird haze. Yeah.
Well, especially in San Francisco, there's just a haze in general. Like,
wow. Well, that could be interesting.
I have never relocated a Liz, but I did lure a Becca.
Where did you take Becca from?
Philadelphia. Actually, she was in D.C. when I took her from there. So she was in D.C. She was working. Well, originally she was working for the French embassy, and then she transferred over to, because that was more of an internship. She worked over for Delta, and then transferred down to Atlanta. So I lured Becca from the Northeast and then the Eastern Seaboard down to Atlanta.
So Podcast Without Pretense, 3 out of 3 hosts have stolen a woman.
Yeah, because we don't move for our women. Our women move for us.
That's how it works.
We're sorry. I'm really sorry. Please don't show this to my wife.
No, we're kidding. We've coaxed them over here, and we enjoy the fact that they have relocated with us. Mine's not even in the building, so like, I have nothing to lose here.
Mine is currently not in the same city, so I'm good.
Mine is right upstairs.
Anyway, normally on this show, we don't talk about relocating women or people or anything. Not pets. I relocated my dogs twice. I have dogs in the background. You might be able to see them. My dogs have flown cross country twice. They moved from New York to California, California to New York. They're done. We're not moving anywhere, guys. This show, we normally talk about shitty movies. Jonathan?
Yeah, so our deal is something that I had proposed once upon a time, where I had mentioned that I had a real problem. Whenever I watch Netflix, I tend to have something else open and competing for my attention, whether it's my phone or a laptop or whatever. And it made me wonder if I had lost the ability to dedicate my full attention to something like, a television program or a movie. And I, as and Eric, both expressed that they too have experienced this same situation. And so that is when I want to say proposed, but it's probably more likely imposed my will upon them, where we pick a movie, usually a terrible one, off Netflix, and without any distractions, we sit down to watch the movie, and we get to a point where we no longer want to do that thing. We write down how far into the movie we got before we gave up. And after that point, when we give up, we can either just walk away, but that's not really that much fun, or we can open up other stuff, have the movie playing, and just be paying a token amount of attention to it until it's finished. And then we talk about it on this show. So who picked this one? Was this you, Ayaz?
It was Thunder and the House of Magic.
Thunder and the House of Magic.
An abandoned cat looking for shelter finds a mystical house owned by an old magician and inhabited by an array of wondrous automatons and gizmos. I picked this because
I take issue with wondrous, but all right.
Yeah, I take an issue with the word array. There's like 4. So I picked this movie. It's 85 minutes long. I was inspired by Eric Sandine and his love of like family movies, and I was hoping this wouldn't suck.
Okay.
So Eric, how long did you last before you moved to a second screen or distraction of some kind?
It was about 14 minutes, and my notes ended shortly after that as well.
I didn't take notes, and I didn't write down how far I got. I'm gonna say it was somewhere in the 20-minute mark before some distraction hit me, but I didn't write it down. I just opened up my spreadsheet and I didn't put an entry into this one.
Nothing.
That's how memorable this movie is.
By definition, because of our rules, I failed at 0 seconds. But here's why I failed. I had my son next to me while watching this movie. The funny thing is, this kid didn't say anything for 24 minutes while watching the movie. So I decided to say, if for my rules, 0, no distraction, because I wasn't interrupted for 24 minutes. Because my boy was like, wait, what's happening? And I'm like, it's a magical place. There's a cat. It's like, oh, okay, that was it. So I might have made 24 minutes.
Yeah. So you've already described what the premise of this film is, but it opens with probably it's a dark opening, right? The very first thing the opening shot is a woman abandoning a kitten. That's the opening of this movie. Yeah. And the kitten is scared and doesn't know where it is, doesn't know why it has been abandoned, doesn't even know that it's been abandoned, thinks that it must have been a mistake. Yeah. It's awful.
Yeah, they're moving away, like Eric's moving away. And it's just going to dump out like some random like living thing. And that living thing will be like, what the fuck, Eric?
I'm keeping my cat.
Well, now
I'm not just going to get in the car and throw it out when I move.
You've been guilted into it after seeing this. I'm sure you were really thinking about the possibility of just abandoning the cat on the side of the road. And then you watch this movie and you're like, damn it. So this film was it's a Belgian film. It was released on Christmas Day 2013. It has a couple of voice actors who have done some other stuff, but there is a shockingly large number of the cast who only have this movie as a film credit. That's the only credit they have on IMDb at any rate. Mm-hmm. So this was a film in which if you were trying to break into voice acting, this was the movie to apply for, because there were a whole bunch of first-timers who were in this one.
Yeah, so
and it's not a particularly good movie.
So the cat's abandoned, and he has a name, and we don't know what it is. At least I don't remember what his name actually is. He winds up at a magical place. Well, not a magical place. He fucking ends up at a house, because there's no magical place.
Yeah. It's a house that has a reputation among the other animals in the neighborhood as being haunted. And it turns out the reason it has this reputation is probably one of two things. One, the eccentric magician who lives in the house has tinkered and built all these little robotic devices that have a personality and therefore would seem a little creepy. And two, the magician also owns a mouse and a rabbit, both of which very jealously guard their status and work hard to make sure no other animals are allowed in the house for fear of upsetting the delicate hierarchy that has been created in that house.
Yeah, so this whole place, what is the magician's name again? He's got like a regular name. His name's like Larry or something.
Yeah.
It's a really dull movie.
No notes.
Okay, so this cat's abandoned. He meets like this stereotypical Mexican Chihuahua who keeps calling him like amigo or something, and he goes and meets a family. Not family. It's just an old dude, and for the most part, he has a huge beef with the guy. Well, he doesn't have a beef. There's this rabbit named Jack, who has a huge problem with this cat. For some reason, because maybe he thinks the cat's going to eat this mouse, whose mouth... Every name escapes me, because I saw this movie like 5 weeks ago. So, who's got notes? Anybody got notes?
Eric has a couple.
These are my notes. Chihuahua Hispanic, burrito reference, seems legit. Haunted house. Oh, this is a good song. The Cure, right? I think. Cool. Oh, love cats. That's right. Have we completely disregarded his whole family? That's where my notes stop.
All right, so here I can help out here a little bit.
Please do.
So you've got this eccentric magician character, and he still performs. He performs for kids who are in the hospital, but otherwise he pretty much seems retired. And he's a little absent-minded, very, like I said, eccentric. He loves animals, which is the main reason why the rabbit and mouse try so hard to keep other animals out. They think they've got a real cushy gig, and they don't want that to be endangered in any way. So when the cat shows up, not intentionally trying to worm his way into the house, the rabbit and mouse react with extreme prejudice and try to drive the cat out as quickly as possible. The magician / inventor finds the cat, is enchanted by the cat, immediately decides to adopt him, which just ticks off the rabbit and mouse even more. They're now blaming the cat for the magician's reaction, as if the cat had been trying this whole time to orchestrate these events, rather than they just happen to happen to the cat. This is all taking place during a thunderstorm that inspires the magician to name the cat Thunder, because the cat is actually scared of thunder, so it's, I guess, ironic or something. And then we are introduced to, is it his nephew? The magician's nephew, is that right?
Yeah, Daniel, I think, is his nephew.
Okay, so Daniel is a real estate agent, and he wants to sell the enormous house the magician lives in, because the magician really doesn't need to live in a huge house, and Daniel wants the sweet, sweet commission of selling such an enormous and attractive property. This is where I would say the magician really doesn't need to live in that enormous house, but, you know, it's been in the family, so the magician wants to keep it. I guess until he dies, because he clearly doesn't have any kids of his own, so there's no one else to give it to except his nephew in the first place. But whatever. Anyway, the nephew is deathly allergic to cats, which is an important plot point. The magician goes out to perform for some kids in the hospital, takes Thunder along. On the ride back, the magician is on a bicycle, and he has his magic trunk, which has the mouse and rabbit in it, and Thunder is riding on the top of the trunk in the back. The mouse and rabbit decide they want to try and get rid of the cat, so they start jabbing at the cat through holes in the box using, I think it's a pencil. And through this, inadvertently cause the magician to crash his bicycle, injuring himself quite badly, so the magician is admitted to the hospital. The trunk makes its way back to the house, and so the rabbit and mouse make it back in there. Thunder eventually makes it back there too. They blame Thunder for everything, even though, again, it wasn't Thunder's fault. There's a lot of blaming Thunder in this movie. And the nephew decides this is the perfect opportunity to actually sell this house. So he goes and visits his uncle in the hospital, tricks his uncle into signing over the power of attorney while his uncle is still loopy from the accident, and then starts trying to show the house around. And then it's up to the animals and the robots to chase off prospective buyers so that the magician can have enough time to get back and take over again. We eventually get to a point where the nephew goes completely bonkers after being foiled multiple times, and gets a hazmat suit and a shotgun and is determined to kill Thunder. This movie is also incredibly violent toward animals. There's a big confrontation sequence where at the end of it, the Thunder and the magician and the little robots and everything, they're all successful. The nephew is defeated, and I really don't know what happens at the very end, because I had lost so much interest that I went to take my dog on a walk and didn't bother to pause the movie.
Yeah.
So that's what I remember.
I also don't remember what happens at the end.
Yeah, so I have a note to myself to rewatch the ending of Thunder, because I watched it with my boy. And all I remember, here's what I actually know, that so Thunder, like, there's like a wrecking ball. Daniel's got a wrecking ball. It's gonna like destroy the house. He's got his damn allergies, because there's a swear in this called damn. And he's gonna wreck the house. So Thunder jumps on the wrecking ball. He's trying to stop the whole thing from happening. It does stop at some point. The magician shows up and he's like, Daniel, you shouldn't be doing this. And that's as far as I go, because I have the last 5 minutes, like this movie makes your brain numb. Like, it's so dull. So I'm assuming Thunder, actually, I think the magician's like, Daniel, got to rebuild the house. And Daniel's like, oh, shucks, I have to. That's pretty much all I remember. So, like, that was many, many years ago when I watched Thunder in the House of Magic.
So, ultimately, I would say this movie is nowhere close to the worst on our list, right? It's not so terrible as to be offensive. It's mostly uninspired, right? It's a very uninspired, by the numbers kind of approach. A little weird in how violent it is toward the animals, particularly toward Thunder. Also a little frustrating that Jack and the mouse, the rabbit and the mouse, never really get any comeuppance for what enormous dicks they are to the cat. Like, the cat keeps saving them. The cat is genuinely good and keeps saving the mouse and the rabbit from terrible, terrible calamity. And yet the way they thank him is they constantly try to get rid of him until the very end. They never get their comeuppance. And that's a little frustrating. But anyway, I think this was a movie by pretty much a fledgling company, using a lot of first-time actors. And considering all that, it could have been really terrible. And instead, it's just, it's just unremarkable.
I thought the animation style was okay. Like, it was good. They blew their budget on using that Cure song in the beginning, though. That's where the money went. Like,
follow the money.
I assume this is like a big CG kind of thing of like, okay, if you've never worked with CG, you want to do VFX, you got to make sure to do your cat movie. It's either Super Buddies or this. So you're going to do something. Yeah. And then like you learn how to animate fur and lighting. And this is a stepping stone movie because nobody in this movie wants to be known for Thunder and the House of Magic. Because, by the way, these automatons, they don't talk, right? Like, there's like a little light bulb dude, and there's like a clock, and it's kind of Beauty and the Beast-ish. Kind of like, oh, look, there's little devices.
I was thinking that one of them looked like it was essentially a ripoff of one of the character designs from Toy Story in the first film with the, where Sid would rip apart toys and put them together. Yeah. I think it was like, was it a phone that had arms attached to it so it would pull itself along the floor? And that was very similar to a character that was in that first Toy Story movie. And I was like, well, this is remarkably similar to another character design. And I really wonder if that was essentially just what they were doing, as if they were just copying it. And not that you would ever confuse this for a Pixar film.
Also, can we talk a little bit about the fact that there's a musical number in the middle of the movie? Because apparently the magician has his automatons and pets kind of dance around to a song because he's fucking crazy. Is this what he does on Wednesdays? I don't know why exactly, because it doesn't happen again. It's only once, right? There's only one musical number to this whole movie, and it's magician going like, okay, do the song that we do, and everyone's like making these chirping noises because they don't really sing. It's a very, like, if this is a very strange thing to say. If this movie didn't have this piece to slow it down, it might have been better. But it sucked. So don't know.
Yeah, it was an odd film. I liked I forgot about the doves. There are two doves too that are lovebirds, and they poop on people.
Hey, that was actually like a legit strategy. So like Daniel is trying to show off the house to prospective buyers, and the doves are like, we're not going to let this happen. Like, how? So they actually fly overhead and poop on prospective buyers. But then Daniel's pretty bright. He brings an umbrella to stop it from happening. And you'll see the umbrella in a bunch of scenes, and it's covered in this white gooey stuff. It's quite disgusting. But like it's the right strategy for a dove, other than like trying to rip out eyes. So considering Daniel's trying to kill everything, maybe it's a not as violent anyway, way of stopping the sale.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I have nothing else to say about this movie because there's nothing else really to say. Again, it's nowhere near as bad as some of the other movies we've watched. Like, you compare this to Bad Girl Island, this one wins every single time.
Yeah. Well, it's, there's, I don't know.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
You think Bad Girl Island beats Thunder and the House of Magic?
You know why Bad Girl Island was okay? Because we all paid attention to that fucking movie. All right?
Only because we were constantly trying to figure out, okay,
what was going
what
on?
are the rules of this fucking movie universe in Bad Girl Island?
Thunder and the House of Magic is so banal and so dull that it loses your interest compared to Bad Girl Island, and not Bird Girl Island, which is not a thing. Bad Girl Island, which is just so horrendously illogical that you're like, is this a good movie? Is it getting better? No, it's just a piece of shit.
We spent like 25 minutes trying to figure out the chronology of Bad Girl Island because we couldn't make it make sense.
There's no if Thunder and the House of Magic had an epilogue like Bad Girl Island saying that a bunch of millions of cats are put to sleep every 3 weeks or whatever the hell it would be.
I forgot about that. Oh, geez.
Thousands of cats escape Haiti every year.
or thousands of cats are stolen by magicians every 2 weeks. That would be some shit, okay?
Also, if we had at least one scene in Thunder and the House of Magic where a young lady throws a baby overboard a boat, then it would have really competed with Bad Girl Island.
At least stuff happened there, and there's a movie within a movie in Bad Girl Island.
I mean,
Thunder in the House of Magic.
The problem is, though, we don't know if that scene occurred. It may have been at the end, Jonathan. Like,
okay, how about this? How about this? This was a better movie than Daddy Can't Dance.
No.
Again,
we all remember that movie because we're like, what the hell is this shit? I bet you this. My 5-year-old son will be like, I don't remember, Dad. Because it's not interesting. There's nothing interesting. The cat's orange. That's cool. There's 2 doves shitting on things. That's cool. Maybe he'll remember that part.
Okay.
But nobody knows the ending.
I'm going to keep naming movies that we have seen, and I want you, Ayaz, to tell me whether or not this movie is better or worse than them, all right?
All right.
So
ask Eric. So go ahead.
Okay. Well, we're not going to bother with the worst of the worst because that's the movie that set the bar, and I refuse to fucking budge on this one. Thunder in the House of Magic is not worse than Rock and Roll Frankenstein.
Agreed.
Yep. Okay. How about Big Money Rustlers?
No, that's better.
No. That's
what?
It's a train wreck.
I specifically did not watch the last 25 minutes of Big Money Rustlers.
Wait.
I got all the way till the last 5 minutes of this one.
Eric, go ahead.
I don't know. I think the problem we're actually running into at this point is we've watched so many bad movies that we're starting to remember them as good.
No. No, I have the movie that it's better than. It's this piece of shit that Eric picked. Strange something. That terrible CG movie.
Strange.
Yeah.
Was it Strange Days?
Strange Fruit. Strange Days.
It's not called Strange Days. So I think that's a different movie. But that CG movie with her in space.
Strange
Frame. That was it.
Thunder is better than Strange Frame.
No,
okay.
Thunder was also better than Love Her Madly.
Oh yeah.
Which one is that one?
That was the terrible murder mystery one where you ultimately didn't care about who got killed or who did the killing.
Oh, right. No.
She was like a professor or something.
Thunder's better. It's, you know what, though? That Italian movie you guys maybe watch? Better than Thunder.
the acrobats one?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the circus people.
That was awesome.
That was very good.
How about...
I recommend
it. How about Hooded Angels? I don't have anything written about that movie, so I know nothing about it.
It was, they were cowboys.
That's right.
Cowboy assassins.
That was the female cowboy justice revenge movie.
Right.
Yep.
I forgot about it. Senorita Justice, but Senorita Justice is one of the best movies we've ever watched.
That's one of the best movies ever made.
Android Insurrection.
Ooh.
That was pretty bad.
No, but again, it held your attention. Thunder is just
so okay. Vanilla. Wait, how about this? Universal Remote.
I didn't finish that, so Thunder wins that one.
Yeah, that was
the
horrible
comedy one. It was all just sketches.
Yeah, it was a pile of garbage.
That
there we
horrible
go.
Anthology. The only thing that was really good on that one was the vampire sketch where the vampire was talking about he wanted to ride a horse and like that was his big thing. Like that was the only thing in Universal Remote that was remotely amusing to me.
And by the way, if you want to watch or listen to the episodes where we talk about these other movies, Eric actually fixed the back catalog of PWP episodes while he was interviewing for another job during the interview, I might add. I'm totally wrong about that last part, but I'm pretty sure he took care of the rest of it. So go to gfqnetwork.com and maybe actually podcastwithoutpretense.com to get everything you want.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And it's fantastic because then I can go back and listen to some of these shows because I have no memory of some of these movies. I mean, I know I watched them. I have notes about them. I see them in my spreadsheet, but
all right.
Is it my turn? I think it is.
Does it go I as Eric, me?
It goes like, wait, it goes, I think so. It makes sense if we're like in that order in this frame.
Oh, come on. That has nothing to do with the order that we picked these things.
All I'm saying is if we make it that way, we just keep.
Am I gonna have to watch another family-friendly movie? I like this because here's how. All right, folks, if you have not been tuning in to Podcast Without Pretense,
which you should have been,
and maybe this is your first time ever listening to one of our shows, and you're thinking, why have I wasted so much time dedicated to this? Here's a little insight into the choice habits of your three beloved hosts. Ayaz is obsessed with was it Lifetime movies?
Lifetime and horror movies.
Lifetime and horror movies. So that tends to be the two categories Ayaz picks from. Eric has picked more family-friendly movies than either of the rest of us combined. Like, that's not necessarily his go-to, but he's done it enough where we have decided that's his go-to.
Yeah.
And then I try to vary my choices, but I do also hover quite a bit around horror and science fiction because, generally speaking, I find those genres have better potential to have a fun bad movie in them than other genres. For example, we have all, and this is something everybody knows, but we have all stated multiple times, there is nothing worse than a bad comedy because there's no joy in it.
Yeah.
So I try to stay away from comedies.
So
Eric,
what did we watch before this? Before Thunder?
I don't know because I've been really bad about keeping my spreadsheet up to date.
Was it the Nicolas Cage?
Oh,
one?
Yeah. You're right. I guess it was me. I chose.
Did I pick that,
you pick
or you picked that? You must have picked it.
I picked it because I said I was so gleeful that we were going to get to watch Left Behind.
So actually, it does go in the order of our images here.
It does. So it is Eric's turn.
So it's Eric's turn, and again, I've actually taken my influence by both of these people because I'm like, Jonathan tries to like make us not watch a shitty movie because we have to spend hours of our lives watching something, so maybe it shouldn't suck. And I have tried the past couple of weeks, on my turns anyway, to have a movie that doesn't like just suck like a black hole. I have been wrong more times than not. So
and to be fair, sometimes I pick movies that I know are going to be awful, but like Left Behind, I knew Left Behind was not going to be some sort of magnificent piece of cinema. But I also knew that we ended up having a hell of a time talking about Left Behind. Yeah. For one thing, being able to compare it to Kirk Cameron's masterpiece films, the first of which we haven't seen, and I'm telling you, it's on its way.
Oh shit! Are we watching that now, Eric? What are we watching?
Oh no, I am not putting you through that.
I will next week.
I have two options, and I kind of want to flip a coin between them. But Crossroads was
the Britney Spears movie.
2002 Britney Spears movie. Have either of you watched that?
I haven't watched it. It was on one of my lists to make us watch it. So okay, interesting.
God damn, you guys are both bastards.
That's brutal.
So the other one is WWJD II, the Woodcarver.
What would Jesus do too?
With John Ratzenberger. You know, I have looked at this movie.
What is phenomenal is that Netflix does not have the first WWJD movie.
Right?
This is like when we decided to watch Left Behind and we just went straight to Left Behind 2.
Well, and Scorpion King 4, I might add.
Oh yeah, we skipped a lot of those.
I think we know what WWJD 1 would be about. because it's what he did. So
That's true.
So what would it just be like? What WWJD I, the Bible?
it's called The Passion of the Christ. You're like,
the New Testament.
And then the sequel is way lighter because it's got John Ratzenberger.
Right. It's kind of funny.
As an elderly man who does wood carving.
Okay, so this is 90 minutes, the Woodcarver.
Oh, this is a tough choice you have, Eric. I recommend the coin flip situation because I don't know that I can give you any guidance on this one.
So, and the problem is my Netflix ratings are screwed at this point. But for WWJD II, I have best guess for me 4.4 stars.
4.4?
I don't know.
The average is 4.3. You would like it more than the average person.
And Crossroads, it has me at 2 stars. So I'm imagining Crossroads is pretty bad.
WWJD II, the Woodcarver, has me at 2.4. What about you, Ayaz?
For Podcast Without Pretense, the profile I have, it's 5 stars.
Oh.
WWJD II. Crossroads is only at 2. So if you want...
Well, to be fair, we've watched a lot of movies that have a religious tone to them.
Yeah,
Twist of Faith, Left Behind, the other Left Behind. so it may be that Netflix is just thinking, you love yourself a Jesus movie.
So we'll do this. Britney Spears' heads. WWJD II is tails. Oh no. WWJD II. I'm sorry.
Man, the fates are cruel.
Son of a bitch.
All right, well, there's no way that I will pick Left Behind as the next one because I can't do that many religious films in that short a period.
Yeah, Thunder, by the way, not a religious movie, if you didn't realize that. You know, there's all like paganism.
Well, let me tell you what I was going to pick if it had been my turn. I probably won't pick this one next time either. First of all, one or both of you may have already seen it. Have you guys seen Repo, the Genetic Opera?
No.
Oh, yeah. I have.
You have, Eric?
I would love to. I'll watch it again, though.
Yeah, see, I watched it too. That was the problem, is that I was thinking the odds were that at least one of you had seen it before as well. So Repo, the Genetic Opera is a movie in which it's set in a near future dystopia where organ failures have become rampant. And a company called GeneCo has found ways to genetically engineer healthy organs.
Yeah,
and
you've told me about this movie before. Now I remember it because I thought it was a really great concept.
It's an amazing concept and terrible execution.
When we hit episode 150, after we watched that Rock and Roll Frankenstein again,
oh God,
and then that's gonna happen. 150. After that, the rules change. Like, we don't have to do what we do because I'm gonna decide that. You guys can disagree because it's a majority. So
I like the fact that Podcast Without Pretense could continue going and just change the rules randomly. So every time we have to decide or every time we explain what the podcast is about, we're like, okay, so episodes 4 through about 40, we just kind of talk. Episodes 40 through 150, we watch a movie a lot of the time.
That's how you build an audience, and then after that, it'll be all about like episode 300 is about
alienating your
leaves.
Audience.
It's tea leaves. Yeah. It's like, so today Eric has tea leaves. He's going to show it to us.
I am curious, Ayaz. So what do you imagine the podcast would be like if we were to abandon this film thing that we've been doing? Would it just be us talking?
The film thing. It's more about like, okay, so one of us have already seen the movie, and that's all right.
Okay.
Or like, so if I've seen a Lifetime movie, I'm like, you guys really need to see Secrets of Eden with John Stamos. Like, why? Like, shut up. That's why. And then you'd have to watch it.
Well, and to be fair, we have done that. At least, I've done that to you guys a couple times. We watched Blood Salvage. I was in that damn movie. So we've done it once or twice in the past. Yeah. We've been a little lax with some of the rules we set down originally, because originally one of the rules was that it had to be something none of us had seen before, because the whole idea was dedicating your attention to something you had never experienced. So
Yeah.
Right. So let's widen it a little bit. Like, I saw this movie a long time ago. I'm gonna try to rewatch it without a distraction. So like, the idea of us not having a winner and watching, hours of a shitty movie, like this show, in episode 151 or 152 or 153, we're watching Breakin' 2, Electric Boogaloo. It's gonna happen. Now, I watched it back in '85. Have you guys seen that movie?
as that movie was on like 5 times a day on HBO from 87 to 93. So of course I've seen that movie.
Well, we should totally talk about but I mean like in our modern mindsets, trying to watch it like adults. Eric, have you seen Breakin' 2?
I
don't think so. It doesn't ring a bell. Here's the thing, Eric.
There are a ton of movies and television shows that have riffed off the same basic premise that's in Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo, that even if you've never seen the movie, as soon as you watch it, you're like, I know exactly where this is going because I've seen every spoof, parody, homage that has been done in this style. I mean, South Park has done an amazing job. Like South Park did you ever see the South Park episode where they're going skiing?
A developer, wait, I'm reading the summary really quick. A developer tries to bulldoze a community recreation center. So this is Rent? Or like...
Well, it's not quite Rent. Think of it like you've got a bunch of scrappy kids who this center is a place for them to bond and to have a healthy expression of artistic integrity and physical ability, and the developer is going to take that away and plunge the entire neighborhood into chaos as a result. Right. And there are tons of movies and TV shows that have done, the scrappy kids have to band together to stop this from happening. Same things, like Goonies has the same premise. Yeah. It's just in the case of Goonies, it's a developer that's going to wipe out an entire neighborhood unless the neighbors can come up with a ludicrous amount of money in order to stop it from happening somehow. So, but yeah, same basic premise, except Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo does it through dance.
Mm-hmm. And Ice-T is there, and there are rival gangs, rival gangs who fight by dancing, like really hard, just close to you. And it's amazing, man.
It's more like West Side Story.
It's also like Daddy Can't Dance.
If Daddy Can't Dance and Miami Connection could have a baby, it's Electric Boogaloo. Okay?
Yeah. Except I would argue that, well, Miami Connection is a far superior film. Like,
I said if they had a baby. So like you have a good and a bad, and you have this like half shitty kid. Like, come on.
Miami Connection's even better than Senorita Justice.
What was that, Eric?
I just said, is that how kids work? I don't. I'm not.
Kids aren't synergistic, you dumbass. Like, sometimes they're like, oh, that's fucked up. Oh, that's half fucked up. Oh, okay, he's like 3/4 fucked up. Shit. But I don't have one of those, so never mind. I have a good guy.
Fortunately, we don't need to worry about the intricacies of Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo until after we get through episode 150. I can't, Ayaz, just because you keep saying that in episode 150 we will watch Rock and Roll Frankenstein again, that doesn't make it true.
Just because you don't doesn't mean I won't watch it, and that's all I'll talk about. You were like, so, I have this new job. I'm in Mexico now. I'm like, so that reminds me, Mexico, it's pretty rough. It's kind of like Rock and Roll Frankenstein.
But you know what's even more rough? Rock and Roll Frankenstein.
You know what's more rough? Being like brought back to life. That's hard.
What would be hilarious is that Eric and I would be talking about a movie we actually picked for episode 150, and you'd be like, so yeah, and Rock and Roll Frankenstein. I'm like, for goodness sakes, we're not talking about that movie.
It's like, I know you feel liberated, but let's talk about Liberace. You know,
I will remind you guys that I watched Rock and Roll Frankenstein all the way through without stopping or without distractions.
But also, we had no idea what to expect about this movie. We have spent like 100 episodes talking about this movie again because it's so unbelievable. By unbelievable, I literally mean that word. Not like, oh, no hyperbole. We're all like, no, that shouldn't have happened. That happened. How did that happen?
So here's the thing. It's a movie in which at one point a priest is killed by having a crucifix shoved up his ass, and that is nowhere close to the most offensive thing in this film. In fact, that part didn't offend me.
That part kind of makes sense. Like, all right, good joke, guys.
Well, maybe it's not as bad in retrospect. It just set a really, really like low bar.
No, that homophobia in that movie, man.
That's it. I mean, like, that's literally what killed it, was the homophobia. Like, every time I talk about it, I'm like, yeah, it's a great concept, but it's really homophobic. Like,
it's a great title. Anyway, it was my pick, and I'm really sorry. And we won't talk about it again until episode 150, when I won't stop talking about it no matter what. I don't know what episode number this is. I think it's like 123 or 124 or like
pretty far out.
I'm still feeling that impending doom. It's like
that's the best part of a podcast series, when you know there's doom coming up and you're like, do I just keep doing it?
Because we'll get our listeners to stick around by talking about how we're going to watch this movie again 20 episodes.
I'm still sad that we didn't come up with the concept of the worst idea ever, the one about watching Grown Ups 2 every week.
So brilliant.
It kills me that we didn't come up with that. That would have been amazing torture to have to endure Grown Ups 2 every week for a year.
Hated each other for that. After 2.5 weeks, we'd be like, I'm not going to show up today. I'm like, why? It's like, Grown Ups 2. So, no.
Yeah, so my hat is off to those guys. I mean, that's such a brilliant idea. You know, we at least have the chance that the next thing we're going to watch is watchable.
Yeah, because the next thing we're watching again is WWJD II, The Woodcarver, starring John Ratzenberger, otherwise known as Cliff Clavin, on Cheers. How long do you think you'll watch this movie before you go to a second screen, Jonathan?
3 minutes.
Eric?
15 minutes, probably.
Knowing me and my time management skills, I'm going to say 2 seconds. Because if I make it to 2 seconds, I will have surpassed a lot of the episodes we've done.
So here's the sad thing, or a sad thing. The first WWJD stars John Schneider. We're not going to get we don't get John Schneider.
John Schneider. Is he the guy from Dukes of Hazzard?
Yes. He plays, his character name is The Drifter.
Maybe he ages terribly by the end to become John Ratzenberger.
Turns into Cliff Clavin.
I mean, look, Schneider can have a really hard life. Maybe it's like a period piece in like the 50s. And then like we go to like when he's Ratzenberger's age. Because, you know, that's what happens to Bo Duke. Luke Duke? What's his name? One of the two.
I'm just going to say yes because...
sounds right.
I don't remember that. You know, here's the thing, though. According to IMDb, when you look at the ratings, WWJD II scores higher. It's one of those rare instances where the sequel gets a better rating than the original. Because
can't have the heart.
You know, what would Jesus do? Because it's not just called WWJD, but what would Jesus do? Got a 5, and WWJD II, the Woodcarver, gets a 6.7.
Was it IMDb?
Yeah. I'm not looking at Rotten Tomatoes or anything.
Every time we pick these movies, I'm suggesting we watch...
One critic has reviewed this movie.
We need to like have a blog so we become one of the other critics that they actually go, top critics, review Rock and Roll Frankenstein, review Electric Boogaloo.
Erica, I don't know about you, but I think I just heard Aya's volunteer to write a blog. for the show. Oh, he's so upset that his audio is cut out. Oh, poor Ayaz. He's just sitting there moving his mouth. I think that we take that as implicit agreement that yes, he's the one who's writing the blog posts. He'll be the one reviewing. Now? Oh shoot! Hey. Hi Ayaz, how you doing?
I can hear you guys. Oh no, I have no problem with writing blogs. I can write some stuff, and it'll be just a stream of consciousness level of writing. So if there's imperfections, run-on sentences, incorrect semicolon usages, I'm going to do it. So
yeah, you're
ready.
Ascribing the wrong actors to the wrong movies.
Here's what I'll do. I'll hit the dictation button on either Google, Evernote, or Siri, and just let it go.
What you should do. Here's the other gimmick. What we'll do is we'll just say every week Ayaz will dictate a review of whatever film we're watching and have Google transcribe it, then put the transcription through Google Translator into Swedish, then back into English, and that's the review.
I love this idea. And then we'll post it on Netflix and see if it actually helps anybody.
Pleased to be liking Good Movie with Carpenter.
Carpenter character does not appear very much, though inspirational. That's how I will actually dictate it in, and I'm hoping it turns into better English on the way out. Like, Jesus. Actually, I should be yelling, Jesus, this is awesome. The Carpenter is good. I so hope. I hope that works. And
this is money. This is money right here.
There's our new show, episode 200, by the way.
We could easily do it with, like, if it's your movie pick, you have to do the review.
You have to do the review. That's brilliant. That's brilliant because that will really make me think harder about the choices I'm making.
So if you're watching this episode or listening to this episode as we are recreating the show,
oh my gosh,
let us know on Twitter if you think this is a good idea, bad idea, great idea, terrible idea, or like, guys, just stop. Just watch the shitty movies. We're on Twitter.
Or you could just say, like, we haven't listened to your show in years.
And also, if you've only listened to one episode and then you think we've gone off the deep end, at PWP Show, and tell us that we have fucked up or we have reinvented the podcast, or both. And I think
not just our podcast. Ours. Yeah. No, all podcasts everywhere. We have redefined the format. Podcast Awards should give all the awards to us because now podcasts, we've redefined it, and yet that means ours is the only one. So really, we're the only one eligible.
This is it.
At Podcast Without Pretense, episode 250, we'll change the title of this show to Podcast Without Awards, and that'll be our next title, and keep going.
I think we have often referred to our show as being award adjacent. I would like to get to the point where we win an award because of the amazing, innovations that we have provided the podcast community.
I think the translation tool is not a bad idea. Quality, we're not going to make that.
No, that's never happening.
No.
We might need puppets. Puppets? That's been done.
That works great for audio podcasts. I think
Jonathan knows a person for puppets.
Yeah, I'm related to one. Yeah.
Does she work cheaply?
For her brother? Absolutely not.
Oh. I was hoping for that not to end with not, but okay. All right. Okay. So we're never going to do a puppet podcast.
Well, we could if we just release an audio podcast and we don't do any video. How the hell is anyone going to know?
It's true. We could be puppets anyway. Actually, the first 80 episodes of this were puppets. They don't know.
Yeah.
I love how this
the next
show's
17 were all animated.
This show's all about community building. So we're like, you have no fucking idea.
Now, we build communities by not recording on a regular basis, ignoring rules that we have set up for ourselves, making sure that any basic rule of podcasting is something we absolutely won't follow. For example, if you do a podcast, you should really focus on, an idea that you're really passionate about, that you are excited to talk about, and that you can stay on topic. For 40 episodes, we didn't do that.
We also we have a passionate topic. It's about talking about this podcast, which is a little meta.
Podcast Without Pretense is generally about Podcast Without Pretense.
But
this is the number one show to find out about Podcast Without Pretense and what we're going to do with it, where we've been, what we've done. If you've never watched it, you will know what it was about because we're going to fucking tell you.
The more episodes we have, the easier this gets.
It's basically like as we keep going, we become a larger and larger clip show.
Yeah.
Remember
when? To
when?
the point where we're in minute 45, so now it's time for the 15-minute Rock and Roll Frankenstein retrospective.
Do you remember when we watched this? Yes, I do. It's like, yes, okay, good. So we have alienated everybody ever. So now is the time to look to the future. Next time on Podcast Without Pretense.
Damn it, guys. We have to start the blog.
I think that 2 watches is the way to go because 0 watches, not very helpful.
Yeah, the eyes fell off my sock, so I'm just going to do it as a person this time, I guess.